Good morning. Are y'all ready to get back at it? I am Michele Babiash. I am the owner and manager of Old Central Firehouse, Pizzeria and Taproom and Bed and Brew. We have been in business for almost 5 years. We bought the old Firehouse at the end of 2017 with the help of the Small Business Development Center. And so I'm a huge fan of the Small Business Development Center. I think what we're doing here today is so important and just such great information. So thank you all for having me. First, I'm going to introduce Mark Odle. Mark is currently a senior vice president and regional branch manager for Sonora Bank here in San Angelo. His primary function is commercial lending, consumer lending, mortgage lending, and business development. Mark has been in commercial banking for 39 years. He has a degree from Abilene Christian University in agricultural economics. His regarded strengths are cash flow analysis and underwriting and loan structuring. So Mark, let's start with you and just tell us a little bit. I think finance and lending is a little intimidating, and so help us to understand it in an easy fashion.
Thank you. My two other panelists didn't want to sit close to me because they were concerned about darts and torpedoes and whatever flying at me from the banking side of things. So that's the joke to it. But very happy to be here. One of the things that the previous panel was talking about was, and used the analogy of a stool. That's something that we think about as far as the financial industry, the banking side of things, is that we want to be one leg of that stool. One of those would be potentially legal, attorney advice, structuring, and hopefully not future problems, but as far as creating a business. The other being accounting, a CPA, to be a trusted advisor. So we as a bank, that many people don't think of it this way, but we do, but that we want to be a trusted advisor. So we always want and need information. We want everyone to completely disclose and share all of the information with us because it helps us in making a determination. The thing that I always stress with the lenders in our organization is that we are assessing risk. That's really our position, is protect the assets of the bank, but we're assessing risk. That risk being, are we going to get repaid? Is the loan going to be paid back and under the structured terms that it is originally done? So that's really our function as a lender, is assessing risk. So we just want to ensure that a business owner, a business has the capacity and ability to repay that loan and not have future problems or issues.
So when somebody is going to come to you, Mark, in the beginning, what do you suggest they gather to make the process a little bit easier?
One of the primary things that we always look at is a very simple question: is who's the borrower? So if it's a financing scenario, then our question initially is, who is the borrower? So is that an individual? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it an Inc., an S or a C Corp, or is it an LLC? And then the individual structure of those. So one of the requirements that we have is under CIP, which is customer information as far as regulatory, that we have to know our customer. So the other part of that is simply what is identified as KYC, is know your customer. So we want to know initially who is the borrower in a financing situation, and then the documentation for that. So we need, if it's a sole proprietorship, if it is a DBA, then that assumed name certificate, and that is completed and done. If it is an Inc., we want to see the articles of incorporation and bylaws, and that identifies who is that corporation and who has authority to sign on behalf of that corporation, who can borrow money, who can encumber assets. An LLC, can be a very myriad of structures. You have members, you have basically co-members. You can have a managing member. You can have members, and then you can name a manager for that LLC. So with an LLC, we want to see the company agreement, which that company agreement identifies who has authority to sign on behalf of that corporation.
Thank you. Next, I'll introduce Angelina Ozarnio Torres, who's the founder and owner and CEO of Jelly Nonprofit Consulting, a high-quality, client-oriented firm offering customized turnkey grant writing, strategic planning, and needs assessment services to nonprofit organizations. JNPC was founded in June of 2017 and is a remote business based here in Texas. Angelina earned her degree from San Angelo University in 2006, and she has worked in the nonprofit sector for 10 years. In August 2022, Angelina joined the Arizona State University Small Business Development Center, which is awesome, where she is a certified business advisor. Angelina has been a long-term client of the SBDC, which, coupled with her business ownership experience, lends greatly in serving clients through the provisions of business advising. Angelina, tell us a little about.
Thank you. First, I got to clarify, I am an Angelo State alum, not Arizona State. We're very proud at ASU.
Did I say Arizona?
That's okay. And so I just want to make sure that, I clarify that. And just like Michele said that, I am a small business owner, and I've also had the honor and privilege of being part of the Angelo State University Small Business Development Center for the last year and a couple months. So it's been a great experience. As a nonprofit consultant, the resources for grant funding and other financing is endless. I mean, there's numerous databases and opportunities for nonprofits to access funding. But, as an SBDC advisor, one of the most common questions that we see is, what kind of grant funding is available for my business? And there's some prevalent myths out there that as a minority-owned business, woman-owned business, there's like tons of free money out there for you. And I hate to put a damper on that, but that's not exactly, correct information. There are small opportunities, mini grants, small grants like $5,000, $10,000 grants here and there, but that's just not an endless stream of money. So, I just wanted to mention that. And, just to piggyback on what, sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice. Just to piggyback on what he was saying, we also help individuals with developing business plans, which is something that you need for whenever you're pursuing financing. And I'm going to go ahead and pass this along to Monica because my voice is giving out, but I'll come back and clarify some more information on that.
All right. Monica Ramos is Assistant Director at Downtown San Angelo Incorporated. She's a proud graduate of Angelo State University, holding a bachelor's degree in Business Administration Marketing. Make a difference in the city you live in is a phrase Monica abides by. She currently serves on the board of the Young Professionals of San Angelo and the San Angelo Hispanic Heritage Museum and Cultural Center. As a 20 under 40 recipient, she is honored to be recognized for her valuable service of community engagement and development. Monica's going to tell us a little about TIERS.
Thank you, Michele. Yes, I'm happy to be here today and inform you all about the TIERS program. I think there are many people that have maybe never even heard of the TIERS program, which TIERS is what we like to call it. It's an acronym for the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone program. This is one of the local grant programs that are available to you if you are eligible for this program. The categories that this program can help you with is facade improvement, like painting your exterior of your building, new windows, doors, secondary egress, landscaping, paving, asbestos, and screening of outdoor storage. But I did mention eligibility. This is key. You do have to fall within the zone of this TIERS boundary. The boundaries, I would say, they're a little edgy, and we have a map available on our City of San Angelo website. I believe the ASU SBDC may also have a map available as well, but it extends out to the north area of 33rd Street and down south to East Washington Street. And if you are a property owner within this boundary, you are eligible to apply for funding. It is split up into separate sections of the zone for applying. There's the north and the south. And when you are ready to apply, you can come to downtown San Angelo, Inc. at 24 West Concho Avenue and pick up an application. The property owner must fill out the application as well as certain criteria along with it, providing a summary or a narrative of your project, which is basically explaining what type of work you're going to perform on your property and how it's going to enhance the area. The purpose of this program is to encourage redevelopment and investment within these boundaries. And so you want to be able to explain how your project is going to fit in with those requirements. Along with the application and the summary and the narrative, you'll also submit a W-9 and a budget worksheet. This would be a detailed, itemized budget worksheet, which I think this part is the part that scares most people, but the ASU SBDC is here to help you complete that budget worksheet. And so Angelina can kind of touch on that.
So yeah, actually it's better that you two kind of filled in some of that information. The SBDC advisors help clients, individuals that are looking to start businesses, expand businesses with the development of business plans. Your business plan includes financial projections and all of the documentation, including like what's the structure of your business and what are you proposing, how are you going to operate the business, what are your sales strategies, and what are you, how much is your project going to cost, and how are you going to use the money. And so we help, prepare business plans for financial institutions, traditional banks. We also help with those that are looking to, pursue alternate funding sources, like through, CDFIs, which are certified, or CFDI, Certified Financial Development Institutions. And then also with programs like the TIERS program, which is, the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone program. So, a lot of times whenever you think about a business plan, a formal proposal, financial projections, or, an application for, some local funding, it can be overwhelming. But, with our team, we're there to walk you through the application process. We will help you gather the information and pull together a nice professional proposal that includes all the information that you need for each respective type of funding. But the favorite thing that we like to promote is that our services are confidential and they're at no cost to you. So if you're a small business owner or looking to become a small business owner, reach out to the ASU Small Business Development Center and schedule your free consultation. And again, our services are confidential. We're not going to share any information about your proposed business concept. We take that very seriously, and we want to protect, your confidentiality with that. But you're not alone when it's time to develop a business plan, projections, tiers
Yes.
application, or any of that.
Thank you, Angelina. I'm glad she gave all of this information, because I think that is something that hinders people from applying for grants, not even just locally, but any grant per se, because it does require a lot of paperwork for you gathering documents, but that's really the gist of it. If you can just gather all the necessary documents that you need, you put it together into a packet, then that's your application, then it's submitted, then you're done. You get to take a deep breath and relax after that. But it really is worthwhile to get with the SBDC to help you out if you're unsure, but to definitely apply for this grant program if you are eligible. Along with submitting your budget, if you are located within the southern boundary, which is really pretty much the area of downtown, you're a property owner in that area, you would also require a DHRC letter of approval, which is a letter of approval from the Design and Historic Review Commission. They would review your project before you submit your application to the TIERS program. The TIERS funding, where does this money come from? Well, it is the increased taxes within the area that goes into a pot of funds for the improvements for both public and private. So if you are a property owner within this boundary, you're already putting in funds into this TIERS program. So why not apply? Because then you're going to be able to dip your hand into this pot and get some money back. The maximum amount of funding that you can apply for is $75,000. So that's quite a bit to be able to help you out with your improvements. There are matching funds that are required. For the south, it's a 25% match. If you're in the north zone, then it is a 10% match. Unless your project costs less than $10,000, then there is no match required for that.
Okay. Mark, can you tell us a little more about SBA loans and the benefits to the borrower?
Well, the SBA structure and from a financial institution standpoint, we can do SBA guaranteed loans that are under really the two programs for that. It provides a percentage guarantee of that loan. From a financial institution standpoint, we look at that loan application, that all of the information, and we determine if it's something that fits within our policy and something that we would approve. Then we can have an SBA guarantee, which really enhances that. So if it's something that there's some aspect of that credit facility, that loan, if there's some aspect of that that's a little bit weak, then that SBA guarantee can really help that or substantiate that. So it's a benefit for certain credits. And then from I don't know that I want to go into all of the rate structures, but there can be some rate structure advantage to that and amortization. So it is a benefit, but it's something that we're going to look at and say, does that fit within our, an individual bank? Does it fit within our policy? Thank
you. I will say as a business owner, like everything we've talked about is a little intimidating, but I was just telling Desiree, talking about lending is intimidating, but at the time I don't remember being intimidated. And I have to say, I think it's because I was already working with the SBDC. I already knew what to expect, and I had all of the information and paperwork that I needed ahead of time before I even walked in to see a lender. Same thing with TIERS. I've applied for TIERS and have been blessed enough to be a recipient of TIERS. And even that process, it's competitive, and so you really need to have all your information. And going into that, I already had the information. I had already worked with the SBDC. I already had my business plan and everything, my financials on paper, and so it just made the whole process easier. So
And I'll note Michele did receive TIERS funding twice, so the one property can receive funding more than once as long as it's for 2 different projects. So don't think that you can only get this grant one time. It is available more than once.
Yes. All right, so do you want to do audience questions? Does anyone have a question?
I just wanted to add some additional information. You know, we're talking, pardon me, about the TIERS program and, you know, traditional financial institutions lending. But, you know, as business advisors at the SBDC, we have pretty expansive knowledge of opportunities that may be better suited to meet your needs as a borrower. And, you know, we talk about traditional financial institutions like banks, and then there are what we call alternative financial institutions. And so there are opportunities out there like, you know, angel investing programs. There are the, you know, certified financial development institutions like People Fund and Lift Fund that are out there. There are specific lending, there's one specific lending program for veterans in particular. People Fund does have a program that's called Capital for Women. So there are some specific, you know, kind of more niche opportunities out there. But with the alternative lending opportunities too, they tend to work with individuals that are maybe not quite 100% bankable yet. And when we say that, that means that they might not be ready to go to a traditional financial institution. So maybe this avenue through an alternative lender is a better option for them. Their goal typically is to kind of lose you as a customer in a sense. They want to help you as an entrepreneur get started, become bankable, and be ready to, you know, so the next time you go around, like maybe you start your business and you use this funding opportunity. Things are going great, you're ready for an expansion, you are bankable now, and so that's where you could go see Mark or the other, you know, traditional financial institutions that are in your community. And so, you know, I just wanted to make sure that sometimes people can, I can tell you as a client, a long-term client of the SBDC, you know, there are times where I felt like so defeated, and I was thinking, gosh, I'm gonna be so embarrassed going in. I'm just like, I don't know anything, and they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. But no, I mean, it's just really nice to have, you know, trusted advisors that can help ground you and help you understand that, you know, you're not limited to maybe 1 or 2 options, that there are some other avenues that you can explore together and then make a realistic and informed decision moving forward. And then if you decide to pursue a certain avenue of funding, then we can help you with the development of that package to move forward.
And I'll say with the TIERS program, it is a reimbursable grant, so you will not get the funds up front. It will be once you have completed the program and you have received your letter from the City of San Angelo, your officialized letter. And so if you don't have your match available right away or the funding to complete your project beforehand, there are some local banks that will consider helping you with funding as long as you do have your letter of approval. Once the TIERS board has reviewed your application and the city council has reviewed your application, you get a letter to proceed. And if you present the bank with that letter, they can consider helping you with funding.
Yeah. We have done, as far as Sonora Bank, we have done 2 of those recently where they needed to complete the project. They came to us. The lender provided that financing, and then it's repaid from that. So it works very well.
Excellent, excellent. Any questions from the audience?
Mark, would you be able to talk about the SBA 504 fixed asset loan program?
I'm sorry, say that one.
The 504 fixed asset loan program?
Yes,
Which is
that
kind
was,
of a companion to the 7A?
as we talked, as mentioned a while ago, as far as the different aspects of that, of a 7A or 504. 504 for equipment, you're specifically. So that is for the purchase of equipment, fixed assets for an individual business of any type. And so that is a guarantee program, I would say. I think the direction of that it helps and substantiates that credit if there is an issue that we look at it and say it's not something that's fully conforming to our policy.
Thank you for that. Anyone else?
As far as just to refinance that, or, yeah. Oh, as far as having that existing credit in place and then another loan for a completely different purpose and leave that SBA loan in place. Yes. Yes. Of course, that's the one caveat to that, I would say, is the specifics of that, of how we would look at it really to the way we look at a new loan request, a credit. We're going to primarily look at two things kind of first. One is ability to repay, and that, as far as the definition of that, in our terminology, debt service coverage. So is the ability to repay that loan as structured. And then we look at it from a collateral standpoint also. We do some credits, of course, unsecured, but primarily we're going to want that to be collateralized. So then it could be an issue looking at the existing available collateral. That would be the only kind of caveat I would say to your question.
Mark, this question's for you. How important is it to build a relationship with your banker, and when should you start building that relationship?
I would say it's extremely important. As I mentioned a while ago, the goal of we want to be a trusted advisor, and so part of that is we need information. My joking statement I say too often probably is we like paper. You know, we want information, and we want to see balance sheet. We want to see, you know, an income statement, a P&L, but we also want to understand the operating cycle of that business, and we want to understand the cash flow cycle of that business. So operating cycle is understanding what you do, back to an original business plan, but what you do, how that business operates and functions, and what are the factors of risk, you know, to that. And then we want to understand the cash flow cycle. So that is something that relationship is very important, that there's that open communication. The worst thing from a traditional bank side is when something happens all of a sudden, there's an event, a cash flow event, something, and then we're trying to basically figure out a solution, how to fix that. And more debt is not always the answer. So we need that relationship, that there's open communication and going initially and going forward.
If I may, I wanted to piggyback on Mark's response too. So, you know, we've seen some clients come in and, you know, they've already started drafting up like their own business plan. They found a template on Google, but it's not really exactly what they really need to develop a comprehensive business plan. You know, Mark keeps saying we want to know, you know, have the information all up front and ready. And you know, the SBDC, we have this template that is just a wonderful tool. It asks very pointed questions, and you get to fill in the responses and then kind of flesh that out to build your narrative. But what I like about this tool is it gives you the opportunity to address everything before the banker has to ask. What, you know, oh, well, what's this information, or can you provide this information or elaborate on that? You know, feedback from our partners in, you know, the financial institutions, whether it's a traditional or a non-traditional, they really love the template that we have because it just helps that client go in and be prepared and knowledgeable and just have that product that's ready to submit to show that the business owner did their due diligence, they did their homework, they did their projections, they did everything that they needed to go to the bank ready to, you know, pitch this concept and, you know, hopefully be able to secure the financing that they need for their business.
I agree with that. I think that when you walk into see a lender and you've done your homework and they can see that, I just think that helps in the process and lets them know that you're being serious and that you're willing to put in a lot of hard work for your business.
Yeah, we tell people it's no cost to come see us, but really it is your time. So as long as you can dedicate that time, that's really the most important thing.
Excellent. All right. Anything else y'all would like to add? Any more questions? All right, thank you all so much. I think that this forum is so great just to learn all about the things that you need to know when opening a business, and I encourage you all, if you haven't already, to get an advisor from the SBDC.